When I think of Jak, I think of the lost innocence. The Jak and Daxter series is really about growing up and how the journey takes away the carefree days of your childhood. Heads up, there will be spoilers for the Jak and Daxter series. So, Jak and Daxter is one of my favorite games from the golden age of, video games. Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, Final Fantasy 10, 10, 2, Sly Cooper series, God of War, Resident Evil, Persona, Metal Gear Solid 3, Devil May Cry 3, and so many more. It was the golden age of gaming. Growing up, video games are like books to me that you can just interact with. It was up to you to get the character to the next part of the story, to unravel the mystery of whatever, or completing the journey of whatever. I love how I love I'm just saying whatever, but I kid you not, some of these stories had me crying as a kid.
Fighting to this day, to this day, to this day.
And now that old games are being remade for today's consoles, I decided to play a classic, the Jak series. Now, originally this video was going to be on Kira, but I just realized in order for me to explain Kira, I kind of need to explain Jak. So let me explain Jak. I never realized the dark meaning between the walls of the Jak series. In my opinion, Jak isn't just a story of a hero saving the day, it's also about a boy being forced to become a man. Why do I say force? Well, when we meet Jak in Jak II, that boy Jak, not grown Jak, boy Jak has just lost his home, he has lost his father, and now he's being taken care of by people he really don't know.
A kid over to Core at the power station. He promised to look out for the boy, and I'm just too busy to babysit right now. I found him just wandering the streets, but that amulet around his neck means he may just be the lost heir to the city.
Young Jak is traumatized at this point. We never see him talk, and he's constantly on the run. And truthfully, his only friend is a dog. We see young Jak run after him during the mission, escort the kid to the power station. And I know that calling back to like Jak from the first game, but in the first game there are times where Jak looks like he's about to talk, but Daxter cuts him off. So I don't know about if Jak was 100% a mute, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe he just was a quiet young man, but I think he talked back then. Like, why have those scenes? I don't know, one of the many plot holes written into the story by Naughty Dog. Yeah, this game has a lot of plot holes that we just ignore, I guess. Anyway, for some odd reason, the adults that young Jak are surrounded by want him to become a man. Like, they expected this 5-year-old to go into the sacred temple by himself. Yeah, let's throw this kid in there. I'm sure there isn't any booby traps or metalheads just waiting to eat human flesh.
Jak, you actually found Mars' tomb.
Great. Now what? We send this poor kid into a meat grinder?
Honestly, he was a child. Like, even I was doing the Jak stare, like, why are we sending this kid in here? But this scene right here shows the forced expectations onto this child. The idea of, you can't be a kid anymore, now's the time you gotta be a man.
You must be cautious, child. The tests of manhood are sure to be fraught with peril, and Mars' heir must face them alone.
The problem is, you can't be a man without being a boy first. Thankfully, older Jak sends younger Jak home, allowing him the childhood needed to develop into the Jak we have today. Once Jak had returned to Haven City, older Jak was forced to become an adult. We see it in the very beginning. He is thrown into this place, this different environment. All the bright greens and blues are now replaced with dull and dark colors. The warm, cozy nature environment is gone, replaced by walls and concrete. The freedom is now taken away. The fresh air is now replaced with smog. All the smiling people are now replaced with frowns. But more importantly, it is the removal of adult figures. See, Jak is thrusted into a harsh world, one that he is not familiar with because he loses his memories at some point when he jumped through the rift when he was a child. So he doesn't remember his time in Haven City. So this boy is not prepared for the amount of BS he's about to go through in Haven City. And what's worse is that while Samos did raise Jak, he did not prepare him for Haven City. And to me, this is a representation of puberty. Samos and his uncle are not here to guide him. None of the adults are here to guide him. In the first game, Jak was just being instructed on what to do and where to go by every single adult around him. Everybody with happy smiles and just positive vibes. But this world is completely different. And going back to the rift where he's traveling through time, Samos tells Jak before he, goes to Haven City himself to go find himself.
Find yourself, Jak!
Now clearly that is Samos telling Jak to go find his younger self. But this could also be a metaphor as for Jak needing to find himself in a sense of a self-journey, that transitioning from a child who relies solely on a parent to that of a young adult. And that to me is just an allegory for puberty. Jak went through major changes throughout those 2 years, and clearly it's because of the dark ego, but you can also take Jak's influence from the dark ego as, a rowdy teenager. Which, fun fact, he is 17 in Jak II, so technically speaking, he is still a teenager, he is still a child, and this is what made me start to look at Jak II a little bit differently. You could look at the 2 years of Jak being tortured by Praxis as a metaphor for puberty. The dark ego to me is an allegory for the changing hormones, making him more aggressive, making him more violent. How his body changes without his consent is how young boys are probably confused on when their body changes. While kids do expect their bodies to change during puberty, they don't consent to all the changes during puberty, like acne, for example. Waking up one day and seeing that giant white pimple above my eye, I was so confused. Another one is his voice. Jak speaks in Jak II, and I was shocked. His voice was deep. Even as a kid, I'm like, whoa.
Say something! Just this once!
I'm gonna kill Praxis.
I said, damn, bitch!
And then finally, have to acknowledge is the literal voice protecting a child, as if Jak is trying to protect his innocence from the corruption of the world. Out of all the adults in the young boy's life who are constantly putting this young man in danger, Jak is the only person who's looking at everybody and is like, stop putting the kid in danger. This also plays into the betrayal of the adult around Jak himself. While Samos was training him for this, event in Haven City, he never really told Jak what was on the other side of that portal.
I hope you are prepared for whatever happens. So this is how it happened.
He knew what was on the other side. That is why he told Jak to go find himself. And then you have Core, the guardian of the child, who we later find out is the leader of the Metalheads. He also betrays a young Jak, a figure who young Jak was very close to. This is major, and while Samos isn't portrayed as a villain, I kind of still side-eye him a bit. The adults in Jak's life didn't just fail to protect him, they used him as pawns to their own goals. We even see this of Torn. He betrayed everyone to save Ashlon. We see this with Crew, another adult figure that Jak works for. Jak isn't cold and aggressive just because of the ego. He has to become this, or the alternative in this world is literally death. He has to embrace this side to survive. His home is gone. It is taken from him. And this leads us into Jak III. Jak III, in my opinion, is the best because it is the conclusion of his journey into manhood. Jak III, he's thrown into the desert, a new environment because the Metalheads... let me go back a bit, I need to explore some lore. Okay, so the Metalheads destroyed half of Haven City. Why? So in Jak II, we are led to believe that if we killed the Metalhead leader, all the Metalheads would die. And apparently that's not true. They would survive. The strongest would survive at least. And because of this, and Jak killed their leader, they're mad and they decide to do an all-out attack onto Haven City, thus destroying a good chunk of Haven City and possibly leading to the deaths of many people. So because of this, Jak is banished to the desert to die. And this is where Jak III gets interesting to me. Jak is now stripped entirely of his title as the Chosen One, the one to save all, because the prophecy itself wasn't 100% true, or rather, Samos didn't know the second part of his story. So now Jak has to deal with all this once again, but this time he is completely stripped of everything, and we see this when he is rescued by Deimos, the king of Spargus, as well as Jak's daddy. Jak didn't know this until Deimos died though, which upset me. Had me punching the air even as a kid, but we're not going to talk about that just yet. Deimos acts like a mentor to Jak in a similar manner to Samos, which isn't really surprising. Their names are just one letter off. Deimos and Jak's relationship in the game is also very important. Deimos is an important figure to Jak because he immediately tells him, whoever you were before, yeah, that's gone. He doesn't care what you were before. He doesn't care that Jak was the racing champion. He doesn't care that he saved lurkers from the slave trade. He doesn't care that he defeated Metalhead leader. He is nothing here. And that basically gives Jak a blank slate to be something else, something that he is not pushed into being, or rather, it allows him to just sit down and think and to examine the new environment, the new freedom he is given, removing the expectations of saving the earth. And for once, Jak is able to look around and say, I can do whatever I want. Kind of similar to the first game. In the second game, Jak is kind of trapped in a box and he can't go anywhere. He has to do this, that, from crew, from Torn, from other people who give him missions so that he can figure out how to escape this box. But now he is out of the box. And now that he is out of the box, Jak must realize he gotta return to his roots. And you can see that in his outfits. His third design looks really similar to his first design from the first game, as if it's, you know, covering up number 2, but not really dismissing his second design. We also see that Jak admires Deimos, something that we don't really see in the last 2 games. In the first game, he doesn't really care for Samos's scent in the sense that he respects him, but he doesn't listen to him. The second game, he's just basically listening to whoever to get to his goal, which is killing Bear. Teenage rebellion phase, I'ma listen to who I want, blah blah blah. And in most of the time in the second game, it was mostly between Torn and Crew, in my opinion. And Crew clearly was the bad influence, and that caused Jak to be more towards Crew because Crew would give him guns. Crew would give in to Jak's violence while Torn was constantly trying to keep him on the right track, even though Torn betrayed him. That's a whole discussion for another day. But we are now back in Jak 3, and Jak is now under, or rather, he is in a new relationship. That sounded weird. He is now forming a new relationship with a new mentor, Deimos, and instead of being told what to do, Deimos just tells him to go and figure out what he wants. And by doing this, Jak begins to prove himself to Deimos whenever Deimos does call him to do stuff. This creates kind of like a nice bond between the two where they can rely on each other. And, you know, Deimos begins to admire Jak for his bravery, as well as scold him like a father when he's disappointed.
You have a reputation for being rash. Didn't your father ever tell you to pick your battles wisely?
I didn't know my father.
My point
He is over the moon when Deimos comes to rescue him, and I swear this scene makes me cry. This is the first adult that we see Jak trying to earn some sort of approval, a mentor's approval, without dependency. That can't be said with the other men in Jak's life. Samos betrayed him. Barrett, Crew, Torn, and Errol all used, hurt, and betrayed him. When Jak completed a mission, Deimos praised him, gave him advice. This was a positive cause, a chain reaction for Jak, turning that anger and spite that he got from Haven City into forgiveness, into allowing him to be able to see that he is more than just a hero, but someone with autonomy, with choice, someone who matters, that isn't just a pawn in someone else's game. And this in turn allows him to want to save Haven City in the end of the day, not because of duty, but out of principle. We even see this growth when Deimos dies. He learns the dark truth that this man was his daddy, and he had sent Sid inside the city to go grab this boy, and that's why Sid was working for Crew. And Deimos was being held by his son. Darn you, naughty dog! Okay, I'm done. Jak doesn't go on a killing rampage like he would have done in Jak II, showing the emotional maturity that he has finally obtained. Jak has become a complete man. by accepting his inner darkness and in learning to balance it with discipline rather than letting it control him and pretending that it isn't there. And we see this at the end when he chooses to stay on Earth rather than go to another planet to start a new adventure. And I love that for Jak. Jak X is Jak accepting who he is and what his life is about, basically. He is more grounded and mature. When he gets poisoned, he doesn't go on a rampage. If anything, he just says,
So we're up against the world's nastiest crime boss with the best mercenary racers money can buy. And we've been poisoned. I've had better weeks.
Basically, he doesn't let the small things aggravate him like he did in the original games. But what I love mostly about this version of Jak and Jak X is the maturity through his outfit. We see that he has officially accepted his role in the future. He doesn't dress like he did before, with his giant hoop on his chest, but that doesn't dismiss who he is before. We still see the shoulder pad for Daxter, as well as his signature goggles. We also have to acknowledge the biggest growth, which is the acceptance of his past. See, Jak X takes place after Jak III. Here, Jak and the gang had been called in by crew to make a toast at his death by his daughter, Rain. Already Jak should have known some BS was coming because crew poisons them, and in order to save himself and everybody else, they gotta win this big grand race that it has like a bunch of mafia dudes involved with it and shit. It's a lot, and I love it. Just like adrenaline, just rock and roll, crazy music, adrenaline, drinking, chaotic. This is like dark underground fun in my opinion. This is why I like the Jak X game, because it actually shows Jak in a different light where he's not like, oh, I gotta jump on an alien ship to save Haven City. It's like, I gotta deal with something small. So anyway, throughout the game, while trying to get the cure, Jak is also trying to figure out how to tell Rain that he killed her father. It was in self-defense though, not out of anger. Eventually the truth is revealed, not by Jak, but by GT Blitz, the TV host that's covering the races.
Or no comment. And with that, let's take it down to Greaser in Hit Row. That's a wrap. Listen, I'm not getting much smoke off you guys. I need more spin, more heat. Story. Yours truly has recovered documents that prove Jak was the cause of Crew's death.
What?
Jak left him to die in a terrible explosion. How heartless can you get?
Now the truth shocks Rain, causing her to denounce her friendship with Jak, not because he killed her father, but because he didn't tell her. They had built up a friendship throughout the game, only out of guilt on Jak's side though, for what he had done to her father. This leads Jak to recognize that his actions, be it a couple years ago, still has consequences that can affect him in the present. This leads to Jak coming to accept the fact that he is a killer and he may not be all sunshine and rainbows. And this is another metaphor of him just accepting the world he's in. And in turn, this allows him to kill GT Blitz. Well, funny enough, he kills him in the same manner he killed Crew, basically, shooting at him and then leaving him to die.
Every last part. You have a habit of leaving people to die, don't you? You get used to it.
Oh yeah, GT Bliss was the antagonist the entire game. He was just under the disguise of a crime lord. And I actually like the fact that Jak leaves him to die. Here's why. Throughout the entirety of the game, Jak acts as a leader of the group. He keeps all the heads cool while trying to win every grand race for the cure. And
We can do this. We can race. And we can beat Crew at his own game.
And make the crowd scream.
Let's race.
Never fear! When the going gets tough, Jak will get us out of it.
We're just gonna have to win the whole thing.
We're dead.
Watch yourself out there, Jak. He can really light up a track, both with his speed and his weapons.
Let's melt this sucker.
he is just determined. He does not care for anybody. He pushes anybody's insults or threats off of him. At the beginning of the game, he was willing to possibly kill some people just to save Daxter from a bar fight. Jak is done being the hero. He is on survival mode. Jak leaving Blitz to die shows that Jak is not the hero that everyone believes him to be. If needed, he will kill a person, and that is something that he has accepted to be his new reality. He has, especially when it comes to protecting his friends and his loved one, he will end your life. That's why Rain didn't stay to celebrate, I guess. I never understood why she left the recording of her father. Maybe it was her way of telling the group that she screwed them over. I don't know, but she left the recording of her daddy. And in this recording, Crew explains to her how to take over the crime world, since all the crime that happens in this city, Crass City, all the crime that happens around the racing time, Rain could easily take over if she had the right people. The hero with the temper, the horny mechanic, the respectable general, and the angry senator, plus the rodent, because apparently Daxter was also invited. I'm also sitting here wondering, why wasn't Tez invited? Like, because, okay, hear me out. I know it'd be weird for Tez because it's like she's never raced, but like Ashlyn and Torn technically haven't raced either. Like we did see Ashlyn ride a vehicle in Jak III, but we never seen her race. And the same can be said with Torn. He also rode something in Jak III, but it wasn't a racing car. So them being in the game is random, and that's why Tez would make more sense to me if she was in the game. She only appears in like the final scene, but I'm like, wouldn't Tez make more sense to be here than Ashlyn and Torn? Like Daxter, Jak, and Kira makes sense. Ashlyn and Torn? Really? Whatever. And what's worse is Rain didn't get poisoned. And if she did, she had the cure. That bitch. But in the end of the story, Jak saves his friends, he sort of gets rid of the crime lords, and now he can happily get with the girl of his dreams. And oh yes, as a woman, I can proudly say, Kira laid pipe. That room was shaking. Because why were we back at Haven City? Simple. Jak and Kira needed to get rid of that sexual tension for years, thus completing manhood, as well as the journey to being a hero. Jak and Daxter was such a great game series. I'm so sad that they never made a 5th game. It's such a shame. Naughty Dog should make a 5th game. Anyway, thanks for watching. If this video does great, I'll be making that Kira video really soon.